Today's an opportunity for you to ask questions. Obviously, some of you are familiar with the space, some of you aren't, so to get a sense of that as well. So I would have got a phone call a couple of months ago from this gentleman here, PJ Carmody, from the council, to say that they were looking to do an art piece as part of, there's two projects happening in the town. The first is the Streetscape project, and the second one then is a new bridge that's being erected here in the town further up. But there's a very significant link between the two, but they are happening in two separate phases. So PJ is going to give you a little bit more information about that. I'll be taking note of the questions, and the reason for that is we'll be putting up a sort of a Q&A answer or document on the website. I will be adding to that over the coming weeks as well, because we anticipate that there'll be a number of emails and queries which will come in after today as well. So we'll be trying to answer those as they come in, but sharing the information with everybody who's expressed an interest. So I would just say just to check in as your proposals are developing, maybe once a week or so, just to check in to see if there's any new or further information in case it may impact on your way of thinking or, you know, ideas that you might have. So Peter, over to you.
Okay, thanks very much, Siobhán. I suppose I'll just introduce myself first. I'm PJ Carmody. I'm a Senior Executive Technician with Clare County Council. I'm based in the area office here in Ennistymon. Generally my role is in roads, but I've been tasked with looking after the Streetscape project, so I'll be the project manager for this job. Basically the history behind it is the funding became available through Fáilte Ireland through their Tourism Destination Towns project. So Ennistymon was selected, we applied, and we were successful in gaining the funding. As part of that, it was deemed to incorporate artwork to reflect the history of the town. Ennistymon is very historical in nature, with its old shop fronts and all that kind of stuff, and Blaze Corner here and the whole lot. So as Siobhán was saying, there's two big projects going on in Ennistymon shortly. One will be the Streetscape project, which kind of looks after from here up along the main street as far as the square. This artwork will be incorporated as part of that project. In our Streetscape project, because we'll be the first job going ahead, the bridge project won't be going ahead for another year and a half maybe, so we'll be finished. We'll be hoping that the artwork will probably be installed before the bridge project is finished. But the bridge project it'll be part of this area, will be in our brief. So our Streetscape will be separate.
So tell me about the
So we'll be finished with the railing. The turn down to the archway there, that is our finish point for the Streetscape project. This area here then will be done as part of the bridge project. So the materials, the curbing, the paving, everything like that will be of much higher quality than what we'll be using on the Streetscape project. Yeah. So that's kind of it.
And there was a mention in the brief about trees down along the main street.
There will be it'll be tree lined on one side, on the left hand side as you go down only. Mm-hmm. We haven't decided on the type of tree or anything like that yet, but that will all be decided in due course. They are protected. Yeah. Those pavements, we cannot do anything with them. We will be changing the paving throughout, but obviously the pavings that are there at the moment, we can't touch them, but they don't meet any requirements regarding slip resistance and friction and that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. So we cannot use this kind of stone, that kind of material throughout. The material that's proposed for here in this area is blue limestone curbing and natural granite paving. So for the main Streetscape project, obviously we don't have that much funding to do that amount of stuff, so it will be lesser quality materials, will be man-made materials, but to the effect of granite, that sort of look to it. Yeah. Second project is the new bridge, an inner relief road, which will be going just past Ungler's Bakery, which is down here. There's a car park. The new bridge will be going across there. So the location for the artwork is deemed to be around this area here by this pole, whereby it can be seen from where the turn-off for the new bridge will be. So the whole concept behind the Tourism Destination Town project is to try and increase visitor dwell time in the town. So in order to do that, with obviously the town being kind of semi-bypassed with this new inner relief road, we're hoping that this artwork will act as a visual grab. Instead of somebody coming along from Ennis from that direction and turning left over the bridge, they might see this and say, God, that looks nice. The whole area will be done up as well with new materials, so it'll be much more appetising. The main street will all be done up, it'll be tree lined, we'll have new street lights, the whole lot. So it's trying to encourage people to come into the town rather than just turning left and going off to the Cliffs of Moher or going to the Hinch or anything like that. And we're hoping that if we do get them up through the town here, that they'll actually stop in the town then and spend more time here. As part of the Streetscape project, we'll also be widening as many of the footpaths as we can. We'll be removing some on-street parking, changing it from nose in to parallel parking to increase the width of the footpaths, and put out outdoor dining and seating areas and all that kind of stuff, which is even more important now with COVID and everything like that going along at the moment, you know. So I suppose that's kind of the concept behind it, and that's where we're at. But just to say, I suppose the phasing of it really is The Streetscape project will be starting shortly, so we will be commencing the works out there. All the overhead cables will be undergrounded as well, so all these ugly cables that you see, the ESB cables and the whole lot, will be undergrounded as part of our works. The old street lights, the poles, the ugly big poles you see, timber poles up the street, big steel columns like this, will be gone as well. We'll be putting in decorative street lighting. Okay, so they'll be and they'll all be with soft LED lighting and the whole lot and everything like that. So that pole, the new pole will probably go in the same location as that, but it will have a decorative appeal to it and a decorative head on it. I can give some details to Siobhán of the street lighting that's proposed for our job, so that'll help, because that would obviously what will illuminate this area here where we're looking at putting the installation. As regards materials, this area here, this section will be done as part of the inner relief road job. So the Streetscape project will finish just around the corner here in line with the archway, which you will see. So the materials proposed for here, for the curbing, is wide, natural blue limestone. And then the paving itself for the area, it's envisaged that it's going to be natural granite in various widths and various lengths. And the reason behind that is to sort of replicate and look like the local Liscannor stone, which is used throughout the area. There are two areas of Liscannor stone paving just down here on the left hand side, outside the cheese press and further down. Obviously that doesn't meet the requirements for friction or slip resistance. So when they get wet, they're treacherous. So this new material is going to mirror that in some way, but it will have proper skid resistance and slip resistance, so pedestrians won't be able to slip and fall on it. The layout of the parking here is changing slightly as well. I'll give a dimensioned sketch to Siobhán to put up on the website as well, to show the layout for the parking and this area here. So, I mean, that's basically it. That's all I have really. So if you have any questions, I suppose, fire away.
Question.
Yes? Of what's in the ground at the moment?
Yeah.
Well, again, to make it very simple, so what you can do is take it that the ground will be prepared to the level that it's at the moment with solid foundations.
Yeah, and that'd be like if you were to, let's say, when do you plan to do that?
Again, we can tie it in injunction. Again, it depends on what comes back with the art installation and when the time frames for proposed putting in. As I said, this section here, all we'll be doing here as part of the Streetscape project is undergrounding the cables. We'll be running a duct from that pole up there down through this area around the corner and away for the ESB cables. We'll reinstate it with probably a bit of tarmac, which will be a temporary fix until the bridge project goes ahead. When the bridge project goes ahead, they'll be redoing all this area with the new paving layout and everything like that. What I would say is take it that any foundation required below street level will be done.
So that will be there one way or another.
If it's required, yes, that's it. I mean, the other option is also to build a raised platform, to build a plinth as part of the sculpture, and place the sculpture on the raised plinth underneath with seating around it or something like that. There's loads of options there. Sorry? Could the wall be used? That's private property. I don't think we'll be able to attach anything onto the wall. No, I wouldn't think so.
Such a slightly side.
Yes.
If steps were included in the proposal.
Yes.
What restrictions
Well, they'll have to comply with, obviously they'll have to comply with regulations and building guidelines.
Handrail and non.
Absolutely, yeah. They'll have to comply with all Part M and all that kind of stuff,
The footprint of the proposed works, could that be the entirety of that
Absolutely.
triangle? So that is not expected to be used for passage, for walking? None of that will be footpath?
Again, it is subject to change. Sorry if we just go down and we have a look. It's going to be this area here. So what you will have is, we'd envisage that pedestrian traffic will be allowed to go through here. So we'd have to maintain a footway along here, a minimum of 1 metre. Okay, from the curb bridge here. Well, we can go back further. You can go back a bit further. It'll be very localised.
1 metre there.
1 metre strip at the narrowest point. And again, no, I wouldn't worry about that. It's just that people can pass in that direction, or people can pass in that direction. So that is it. Yes. The levels and everything there will be sorted out. Absolutely, I would imagine. Sorry if we just turn around. If we look at, I'd imagine that your footpath will probably be along here, so you'd have your meter from here, so you're able to come out to here. Your footpath area would be here, Again, these steps We'd be looking at getting rid of these steps. There'll be no steps anymore. We'd be trying to slope that down gently and bring it back in, that it'll all be fairly level here. We'll bring it as level as possible and try and avoid steps. At all costs we want to avoid steps on a public footpath. So we'd be looking at levelling off this area as much as possible. And you'd have your walkway along here. You're allowed to go down to 1 metre at the narrowest point at a local obstruction. So again, it would only be over a short distance, so it's no issue to come out here with it.
And is all of this area here public?
It will be as part of the new bridge. There's a CPO process going on at the moment, so all this will be deemed part of the public road. Yes.
Would it be possible to have something there then connecting with the proposed piece that's up here? To have an artwork in more than one spot?
To have 2 artworks.
Well, it's 2 pieces connected.
Absolutely, yeah, that's possible. But again, I mean, it's going to be severely restricted by budget.
Of course it is.
Yeah. But absolutely, I mean, everything's up. This whole area here is open for the. This is the location for the art installation. The only proviso that I put on it is that we may be able to, you can see some part of it from the new turn, from the new bridge.
So can I ask a question?
Yes.
It sounds, from what I've heard so far, like what's going to happen is even sculpture.
Well, it doesn't necessarily have to be sculpture.
I would think that
Yeah.
in advance, something that's going to be seen from up there.
Yes.
It's got to be fairly substantial in size and it has to be high up.
That's open interpretation. So I mean, it can to do with the lighting and stuff like that as well. You know, it just doesn't have to be a big physical structure. It can be do something very small, but lit in an imaginative way or an imaginative shape or something like that. You know.
And the cost of it, the foundation and all that work, that has nothing to do with the budget that has been kind of allocated.
We depending on the foundations required,
Like, does that eat into the...
No. There's I think it's the 30,000. It's 30,000 is the budget there for the artwork. You can take that as being from the ground up.
Oh,
And the seating then that you're planning on putting, where would that go? Just I know it's hard.
It hasn't been decided
Okay,
yet.
that would be-
That's all up for grabs.
Yeah.
But as I said, look at the artwork will go in first.
Yeah.
So if we look at street and we can design around it. You know,
Okay, yeah.
the type of seating or the type of street furniture that we're using hasn't been fully decided
so
yet.
You don't know like what we'll say, would it be enclosed from this area that people come in and around, or would you come in from
That's all. As I say, look at you can take this whole area as being a blank canvas.
Yeah.
That's the whole idea. But this entire area here can be taken as a blank canvas.
Is this area up to that wall?
It's up as far as that wall. Yes, we'll be looking at revamping and doing up that wall a small bit as well. But that wall won't be moving, or there won't be any major works done to it. We see that wall has been a nice feature here as well. Like, you know? Yeah. And they have, in fairness, the Tidy Towns groups here in town have also, as part of their pollinator project, they have looked after and maintained and put in these flowers and stuff like that along it as well. So that'll be maintained as well. So that's another aspect of it, you know, is that there is a pollinator project within Ennistymon, and the Tidy Towns group work hard and active on it. They have flowers around, and they've also, and this is one of their key areas here, is where absolutely during the year when it's in full bloom, it's beautiful here, like, you know, that you get these lovely flowers on the wall there, and it acts as a pollinator and an attractive area for wildlife, like, you know.
A question, the light.
Yes.
Is the traditional light is that absolutely fixed, or could that light, where the light is going to be, could that light be part of the sculpture?
Absolutely, yeah. As long as it provides the required looks that we need at the roadside, it can be incorporated as part of the. Absolutely, we can eliminate the pole from there, and it can be brought in as part of the sculpture if it provides enough light to the streetscape outside, to the footpaths and the roadway. Absolutely.
Okay. Because I just see there, like with the pole, and you could put them along and put the meter of the footpath in, it's almost like a little bit of an obstruction on the footpath
Yes.
itself, you know?
That's it, like, no, we're aware of that, but the location of the pole isn't fully fixed either.
Yeah.
We can move it if needs be.
Okay.
But they are decorative poles. They're 8 metre high decorative poles. Again, I'll give details to Siobhán. They'll be put on the website there for you to see them. The type of light that's proposed to be used. Actually, they'll be very similar to the ones that are just after being done in Clare Castle. If any of you are familiar with those, or look up Google Maps, you'll see the ones that are gone in Clare Castle, or that they're kind of a teardrop effect on top, the light on top with a decorative column. But again, I'll give more details to Siobhán on that. Yes, because you have to do what's called lux at street level. You have to have a certain intensity of light at all areas within. So in order to get that, you have to go some bit high. As I say, I think they're 8 metres, the columns we're proposing to use with a teardrop effect on.
Could the artists come along and design their own pole?
Absolutely.
And be part of the sculpture and not have the traditional type of pole, but go to the 8 metres and provide the right amount of light.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, as long as it provides the right amount of light for the roadway and the footpaths on both sides, that's not an issue, yeah.
PJ, can you just roughly give us 8 metres? Is that the height?
It's roughly the height of that pole that's there, yeah, where the light is.
Just so
That's about an 8 metre column, like, so you're looking at about that height.
And then the lighting of the sculpture,
Yes.
is that the responsibility of the artist?
Well, again, as I said, we are proposing to put in the street light, which will illuminate this entire area.
So it could work within that.
Absolutely, if you don't want to incorporate lighting into your design or whatever, the street light this area will be lit, the street light, but as I said at the start, we want this to stand out and to be seen. Look I'm not saying that you have to do it, but one of the ways to do that is with imaginative use of lighting. We want it to be seen from down below. What we're trying to do is try and encourage people to come into the town rather than turn left and just go over the bridge and disappear off up the coast or somewhere else. We're trying to increase visitor dwell time within Ennistymon.
If you were doing lighting, if you were going to light your piece,
Yes.
and your piece was just over here,
Yeah.
can you bring the...
We'll put whatever ducting, whatever electricals are required, that'll all be done by us, absolutely. As I said, you only have to budget from the ground up.
Yeah.
Ground up, we'll do all the below ground works.
Okay, that's very good. That's good. No, that makes a big difference to the budget.
No, absolutely, yeah. No, look, I understand the budget isn't massive. And we want something that's going to stand out here, because it's going to be here for a long, long time. And we want something that's going to be associated with Ennistymon, In years to come, if you look at postcards of Ennistymon, I'm hoping that this artwork here will be on that postcard, That's kind of what we're looking at. It's going to be a symbol for Ennistymon. That's kind of the way we're looking at it. And we're putting it here. This is the most prominent location for the entrance way. It's looked as it's the entrance node really in the hub of Ennistymon. This is where it grabs your attention. And that's what we're hoping it'll continue to do.
Well, I see your sign, this is it.
Well, that's it. Well, that's a new shop that has just opened, or a cafe that has just opened, yeah.
Submit a few ideas maybe. I'm not sure how
I'm not sure. I'd have to.
Say that again, sorry.
I'd have to go to the expert on that one.
You're fine, sorry, I missed what
submit
you
a
said.
few different
Oh, you can, of course.
ideas.
Yeah.
How detailed is it? Has to be really costed specifically,
Yeah, well, I mean, I suppose the costings, like, we're not looking for specifics as such, but we want you to be protected for yourself. So that you've done enough research, so that is the case. If you do get the commission, you can actually deliver it. And very importantly, that you get a fee out of it as well, because we have seen cases where people haven't costed them and materials are more expensive, and you see the artist fee come down and down. So in terms of the selection panel, they will be looking at the budgets to see, is this feasible? And we will have artists on the panel as well who will probably be going, actually I think that might be a bit ambitious, or no, that seems to be around the mark. But as in terms of the amount of proposals you put in, that's absolutely fine, there's no issue. Often we would get kind of a main proposal, and then it might be option 1, option 2, which is fine, and it's fine just to submit one as well, focus all your energies on one. No issue with that at all.
I have a question about making your proposal.
Yes.
And you said, like, if you email into you and you don't want any files over the whole thing over 4 megabytes, but can you do WeTransfer?
You can.
When do you think you'll be doing this? When is the plans for doing the
bridge project?
No, the footpath.
Well, as I said, the footpath project will be starting shortly.
All right.
Within the next month, I would imagine.
Yeah.
But again, that will be starting around the corner. We're going to finish around the corner. If you look at the bowway there, just after Burns' restaurant here, that bowway, a straight line across, that's where we'll finish. We'll be using different materials there. We won't be using natural blue limestone. We'll be using a man-made product, which will look something similar, but a cheaper version of it, obviously. The same with the granite paving. We'll be using a man-made composite, which will look similar, but won't be the same expensive material. But the expensive material will be used in this area. It'll be done as part of the bridge project. As part of the bridge project, it's just worth to mention, I suppose, the old bridge that's here at the moment, that will be pedestrianised.
All right.
So that's going to be pedestrianised for pedestrians and cyclists, and that will be paved with all the new high quality material as well. And all this area here across the road will all be the same materials throughout. So you'll have your blue limestone curbing, the wide blue limestone curbing, with the granite paving, which will be different widths, different lengths, and dotted around, as I said, to try and reflect the Liscannor stone that's used throughout the area, you know.
What's the junction at the bridge? Is that to be a roundabout?
The junction on this side of the bridge will be a T-junction.
A T-junction?
Yeah, on the far side of the bridge there'll be a mini roundabout.
With lights on the
There'll be lights throughout, yes. There'll be pedestrian crossing there as well, yeah. As part of this project we'll also be putting in a new pedestrian crossing just after the archway on the main street down here as well, but that shouldn't impact anything here in this area.
And a question about, you know, like tying up the work that the artists do with the foundation and your...
Yeah, any tie-in work we'll make good, anything on the ground. As I said, you take it from ground level up.
But like they say, the foundation, would you want to take into account to say if the successful artist, would you take into account the successful artist proposal when you were doing the concrete underneath?
Oh, absolutely, yes. Yeah, absolutely. Because
it will be done around the proposal.
As I mentioned earlier, if you're putting down maybe large poles that you need to go down at specific locations, it's no good putting a big lump of concrete in the ground. Do you know? So the successful application, the successful piece, we'll tie in, we'll work around that. So we'll do whatever needs doing here up to ground level with that, and the new paving will tie in with that. It might also impact how we decide on what street furniture we use, as in bins, as in other lighting around the area, as in trees, as in street planters, as in benches. That could all be taken off this piece. If it's deemed appropriate, we could look at tying in with that and taking that and using it throughout the town to reflect the street furniture throughout, you know.
So the artwork comes first and everything else is done to maximise the impact of it.
That's it, yeah.
Just checking one thing, you said this bridge is going to be pedestrianised.
Yes.
But cars will still come up and down the...
Absolutely, the road will stay as it is. It's just there'll be no right turn across the bridge and there'll be no traffic coming across the old bridge. It'll be pedestrianised. This will still be two-way traffic. Coming straight down and straight back up again, And this junction here will still be open as well up here in Churchill, it's called. But all traffic going to the Hinch will be going down to the new bridge and turning right.
PJ is going to say as soon as. And the reason for that, Sarah, is just, but I suppose even once we have the proposal, they can start looking at what needs to be done, all the other, things that needs to be done. But
obviously, the world is changing.
Yes. Oh, absolutely,
There's a lot going on right now, so I'd say, hard delivery date would be very difficult.
No, it's flexible. Look, it is flexible. We'll work around it. As I said, one of the key aspects of the Streetscape project is undergrounding the overhead cables. They're all throughout the town. To do that, we have to put ducting down. Okay, so obviously we're not going to put ducting in here if we know it's going to affect where the sculpture is going and like that. So we'll try and keep away from it. So when we have the successful piece of sculpture, we know where the artwork is going. We'll work around that with our paving, with our ducting, the whole lot, And if we need to bring ducts to where the artwork is, we can do all that as well. But again, there's no hard and fast rule on the date on it. I think the selection process is due for the end of December. So probably the successful piece will be chosen before the end of the year, and then I suppose we'll talk with the artist in the new year, because we won't have a hell of a lot done on the streetscape at that stage anyway,
And every proposal will be different as well. So every proposal will be different. Some may take shorter, some will take longer. It's not going to mitigate against our selection. We just want to get it right. So look, if anybody has any other questions, you can come back to me. As I say, we'll be updating sort of the Q&A document anyway, and I will either link in with PJ or whoever else. If I can answer them directly, I'll certainly get back to you.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to change Ennistymon forever. Ennistymon is never going to be the same again. We're also looking at we have a proposal for a new car park. So we'll be hoping to do that, because we're losing some on-street parking. Parking is a big issue within Ennistymon. We have a site almost secured now to provide 60 new spaces within the town as well. So it's a game changer for Ennistymon, and we see this artwork as being integral to that. It's key in attracting attention and being an eye catcher, and getting people to stay here and stop in the town and utilise the facilities in the town more and more and try and bring the town back to its vibrancy.